G'day Year 12 and welcome to another YouTube lesson. Okay, today we're going to take a look at human resource management strategies. Now, strategies, what are these? These are things that a business can implement in terms of human resource management to improve things for the business, to be able to meet a certain set of criteria. And luckily, the next topic or subsection of HR that we're going to look at is the effectiveness criteria. And using these strategies in HR, such as leadership style or job design that we're going to look at today, you're able to measure, evaluate whether these strategies have been good, successful, bad, crappy, and use the criteria of the effectiveness criteria to see whether they have improved worker morale, lowered absenteeism, etc., etc. Now, the two strategies that we're looking at today are leadership style and job design, be that general or specific job design. So I want you to be able to have in your mind, like always, a definition of the syllabus dot point, but also be able to define it, and then also to be able to say, how is this a strategy? How can it be used to improve things for HR management? And as always, make sure you have a case study stat example that you can use as well for your short answers, especially your essays. Okay, the first strategy that can be used for HR management is a leadership style. There's 3 different leadership styles. And so as always, it's a little bit weird, the Year 11 and 12 course, and sometimes they maybe should be the other way around. In Year 11, you might remember back to management approaches or approaches of management, and you looked inside these management approaches to leadership styles. Well, we're not looking at the entire management approach, just the 3 different leadership styles today, and then figuring out how they can be used as strategies for certain businesses. So the first one we have is an autocratic leadership style, an aggressive, if anything, leadership style. You do it because I tell you to do it. Then we're going to be looking at the second leadership style, which is democratic, and it's much more taking on board what your workers want in your decisions as a manager, as a leader. And the final leadership style that can be used is the laissez-faire approach, laissez-faire leadership style. Now, each have their pros and cons, their advantages and disadvantages. The first one, which is the autocratic or authoritarian leadership style, refers to a leader that has a strong, or leadership that has a strong chain of command. Now, it's seen as inflexible. So you do it because I tell you to do it. Now, I hope no one's looking at me and saying, hey, that's what Mr. Brown's all about. Do these clips or else. But that's the sort of style that you see with this. It's inflexible, has little participation by staff in any decision making that occurs. Now, is it a successful strategy? Can be. Depending on the job you want, it can be useful. For most jobs, it's not ideal. If you had a manager as a teacher that used this all the time, that would not be the best approach. Probably more a democratic approach would be better in that situation. However, jobs where leadership situation calls for an urgent or immediate action is very, very important. So I think manufacturing, factory type work, maybe somebody working at Coles or Woolworths, generally this style of leadership is something that's effective because it doesn't require a lot of thought and you just do what your boss tells you to do. Now, the second approach is democratic, in some textbooks called the participative leadership style. Now, this refers to a mixture of both autocratic and laissez-faire leadership. And so at times the leader will ask for a democratic vote on a particular issue, but other times they will take over and make the final decision. So it's really a case of listening to your staff, asking what they would like, and using that to help guide you in your leadership style. You don't have to do what they say, and often at times I like to think I'm a little like that as a leader, as a teacher. I do want to listen to your input, but let's be honest. If I listened to all of Year 12's input, it would be have a party every lesson, and that would get us nowhere. So you take on board what your staff wants, but in the end, even with a democratic leadership style, you still, as the manager, will make the decision. Now, back to how it's a strategy. This can be a very useful strategy as it allows the employee, the worker, to feel that they have a say, but at the same time will help give the business some direction because the boss, the manager, still does make the ultimate decision. What's it useful for? I don't think factory work as such, but it's quite useful for government department jobs, corporate companies, schools, those type of businesses it suits. Now, the third, final leadership style that can be employed, can be used, is a laissez-faire, or in some textbooks called the delegative leadership style. This refers to leaving the team alone and allowing them to use their own discretion in relation to workplace decisions. So it's not a strategy that's used very often. It would be useful for businesses that require workers to have a great deal of creativity. So if you were to get an artist to come to paint a mural, and the big things on the wall and stuff, then you'd probably give them some ideas about what you want to see. But it's largely up to the artist to do what they would do. Some of the times, Google employs this leadership style because they do encourage their staff to be highly imaginative. In contrast with Apple, under Steve Jobs, it wasn't even a democratic leadership style. There was more that old school one, that autocratic / authoritarian leadership style. All right, so that's the first strategy that you need to be aware of, and hopefully you understand how to use that as a strategy. The next one is job design. Now, job design is the function of HR where managers develop and specify work activities that individuals or groups within the business environment will complete. There's two job design types that we have. You can see that in your syllabus. It's general and specific. So I need you to know what general job design means and what specific job design means, and then also how can both be used as strategies. Now, it's a strategy because well thought out job design and the linking of appropriate people to appropriate jobs will improve worker morale and also increase productivity in the workplace. You need the right dude, the right chick, making sure those people are doing the right job. Now, general job design, general tasks. This refers to allowing workers to do a broad number of tasks and jobs as part of their role statement. So the example I often give to my kids is teachers or our teachers. All right, you've got primary school teachers and you've got high school teachers. Now, a primary school teacher, in terms of their job description, they'll have this general job design. They are kind of looking after lots of different areas. High school teachers, we specialize in one area. Lucky me, lucky you, you get business studies. So I'm an expert in business studies. And so you're trained, highly trained in one specific area. And that would be specific job design, given one specialized or specific task to do. Now, back to general job design. How's it a strategy? It's a useful strategy because it allows workers to not get bored. You're doing lots of different things, you're a little bit more interested, hopefully. It minimizes worker burnout and staff turnover. It reduces repetitive strain injuries because people aren't doing the same job all the time, or they're not doing the same job all the time. They're given a range of different tasks, therefore they're less likely to have these RSIs, these issues. Okay. Now, on the flip side, the downside of the general job design is that, can you imagine me teaching art, teaching, physics, chemistry? Any kid that I'm teaching, 2-unit extension maths to, they're screwed. So it's not effective in certain jobs. And that's why you need to tailor this strategy to the right business. And you'll see that with your case studies. Now, Specific job design refers to employees, workers, being trained in highly specialised roles. Again, how's it a strategy? It's a strategy because if it's a complex job, then that person becomes an expert in that field. Okay, also, if you specialise in something, you get, hopefully, very good at it. If I was to do senior geography, economics, business studies, legal studies, society and culture, what other stuff do we teach? There's other ones I can't quite think of. I wouldn't be very good at each of them. The fact that you stick with a subject for some period of time means you become an expert in that field. All right, so just a quick recap, guys. Today we took a look at the first two strategies, that being leadership style and job design. Thank you very much for listening. See you guys next time.